Breaking news tonight, House Democrats releasing brand new impeachment evidence. What they say is a previously undisclosed letter Rudy Giuliani wrote to the incoming president of Ukraine. This is dated May 10th last year. Giuliani writing, quote, "I have a specific request. In my capacity as personal counsel to President Trump and with his knowledge and consent, I request a meeting with you this upcoming Monday or Tuesday. I need no more than half an hour of your time. I'll be accompanied," he says, "by his colleague Victoria Tensing." He describes her as a distinguished American attorney, very familiar with the matter at hand. Notice this language, quote, "with the president's knowledge and consent." Giuliani showing that his trip at the time, contemporaneously, as the lawyers would say, was something the president was consenting to. A very critical piece of information and evidence, and I want to get into all of this right now with former federal prosecutor John Flannery. We should note he once worked directly with Rudy Giuliani in the Southern District of New York. What do you think is the significance of this brand new evidence?
Well, if there was any room for doubt that this was a shakedown by the president and that he was involved and Rudy was involved and Rudy's subalterns, Lev and Igor, were involved, these additional documents put that all to rest. And as you said, one of the most significant things about this letter that you were just reading is that it starts with, "I am private counsel to President Donald Trump." And it even suggests that this is out of channels, you know, which is...
Let's pause on the evidentiary point you're making. That
yes.
Not according to the critics, not according to the observers, but according to the president's own employee or agent,
yes,
this was not for the public interest of the United States. This was not foreign policy for the U.S. This was a personal attorney seeking personal help for the president. And that brings me to the next thing I want to ask you. This occurred, this letter is dated, and Democrats say it's real, and we'll report any contesting we get from the White House as it's brand new. But if you take this date as real in May, it would suggest that the initial effort in this plot was not for Trump to necessarily have to ask the Ukrainian leader on record in front of government officials, but to get Giuliani to do it. And only when that faltered or didn't get the result they wanted, did it then go to the July call.
Yes, and the context is particularly interesting because before this letter in May, you have them getting rid of Yovanovitch in April so that she's not in the way to obstruct this corrupt deal that they're putting together. And I think you already mentioned in the broadcast that there was a text message or email from Rudy Giuliani, and in that he's talking about the anti-Trump people who are around Zelensky that he's concerned about. And then when the two subalterns who work for Rudy in this effort to get rid of Yovanovitch are found out and indicted, there's interesting correspondence getting permission from the president for John Dowd to represent both of them in the criminal proceeding. Obviously, that's changed since. Lev Parnas is represented by a different counsel. So the thing is as tight as could be in terms of evidence that fills in whatever gaps people have. I would hate to be one of those senators that think they have to lie for the president and vote for him at this upcoming trial.
Well, and that
this
goes,
kind of evidence.
This goes to the factual pattern. Are you claiming that the phone call was, quote, just a phone call, that there wasn't what lawyers would call a wider alleged conspiracy, or, boom, as more evidence comes out, here it is? Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.